already been expressed. More progressive communities are moving away from having parking lots visible from roads, and instead they have the parking lots behind the shopping center buildings, hidden from the road view. So if we did that on this plan with one of those two buildings that are somewhat side by side, that would eliminate the problem of the cut through from one side to the other, and also solve the problem of it being so aesthetically abysmal from the street.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
In April 2017, there were a lot of trees taken off in the site, even though the county council, as part of the PUD, had said the trees had to remain. Under the downtown Towson zoning, there's a requirement that when trees are measured at chest height, for every inch of a 10-inch or diameter or larger tree that's removed, they have to be replaced, either on site or they can be replaced elsewhere. How much of that obligation? There basically were 462 diameter inches of trees. 462 is a lot of inches. How many of those are going to be replaced on site, and where will the other ones be replaced?
You're talking about the trees that were taken down by the county?
Yes, that were not supposed to be taken down.
That obligation, what you're referring to, does not apply to this property.
Why doesn't it apply? It's this property.
It doesn't apply, ma'am.
It needs to apply.
There's going to be, the county's going to require a landscape plan, and they're going to require that we meet the landscape plan.
That somebody has to meet the obligation for replacing the trees.
I gave you my answer.
All right, our hope is that the county will take that obligation and will replace them, if not on this site, at least in the downtown district, so it will have some benefit for the downtown district.
Thank you for your comment. Yes, ma'am.
Will the surface be, I guess it's called impermeable or something, where rainwater can get in since it's a lot of macadam?
It will not be. When we're doing stormwater management design, we can only do pervious paving in A and B soils, and there's 4 different classifications of soils, where A soils are like the most sandy soils, and D soils are kind of like the most clay soils. And so this site is all D soils, except for the little strip of vegetation along this edge right here. That's a D soil, but we're not touching that, and it's all uphill, so basically we're not allowed to do pervious paving.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't do the math, but it seemed that there were more parking spaces for the bank site. And that sounds like a mismatch to me, because I imagine that a fast food restaurant, even if it had a drive-through, would require more parking spaces than a bank. And I'm wondering if that might mean that this design, for a bank to come in, there would be some parking spaces that could be removed, perhaps the ones that are in front of the property one-story retail restaurant, to make a more amenable outdoor seating.
Well, we have to take another look, take all the comments into consideration from the county and from all of you here tonight. And again, there'll be a development plan, and there may or may not be a change to configuration of parking spaces, location, things along those lines. Thank you. Yes, sir.
This is kind of a couple parts. When everything's approved, okay, when would groundbreaking start and when would it finish?
Well, I don't know the date when everything would be approved,
Right.
as you put it. How long will construction time take? I don't have that. I don't have that answer for you tonight.
When is the hope for answer, the opening day for the businesses? When is it hoped to start?
I don't have an answer for you, but I'll get your contact information and I'll try and get you one.
Oh, okay. Now, all right. Now here's the other part, and this is a hypothetical.
Okay.
2-3 years after this site opens up, is there anything to prevent the developer, owner of the property to say, well, something isn't working, we're going to tear this down and we're going to build a 3 to 5 or 6-story something else? Is there anything that would prevent changes?
A change like that would have to go through a county process with which public input.
Okay. Thank you.
I want to go back to this business of that parking lot being a cut through from Kenilworth to York.
Okay.
I think that is a really legitimate concern, because it's a straight shot. And that's an accident waiting to happen, and it's going to be a traffic issue. Speed, for anybody who's driven through this community, is something that is terrifying. At the speed at which people go up and down York Road, up and down Bosley, I've been behind cars going easily 60 miles an hour. When somebody's trying to get through from Kenilworth to York, and they come through that, there's no guarantee they'll slow down. And I see that as a huge problem for anybody who's walking into these retail spaces. And so I question the wisdom of the design that's there that will, how do you stop the cars from going through? Was that addressed? And if there is no way to stop them, why is that plan legitimate?
Doesn't stop.
What will
Once they
be the way to
turn green,
control?
right through.
Cut through traffic?
Cut through traffic and the speed of traffic coming through there.
It's almost a straight shot.
It is a straight shot, and that's what worries me the most.
Never
Look at
run the light
Kenilworth,
even faster.
look at the entrance to that on Bosley, coming across from Kenilworth. Somebody who's trying to make it through the light, and I doubt there's a single person here who hasn't seen somebody go through red lights in our neighborhood.
Yes.
And it's with pedestrians, which is what we're trying to encourage, and yet we give a speedway straight shot for them. This is crazy. I really question the wisdom of the way this is constructed.
Could you put some planting things in, to break up that straight shot speedway? So some triangular or rectangular green space in the middle so that it breaks the straight shots cut through?
The best I can say tonight is it's a comment we've heard a number of times this evening, so we will take it under consideration as we're preparing the development plan. Yes, ma'am. Either of you.
Okay. I was just going to say, and I know what when we came to the last meeting here, it was about a different plan, and I get that, but this same issue came up quite a few times, and we were told that they were so also kind of aware of it, that they were thinking of making it so that to travel between the entrance on Bosley and then the York Road, they would purposely stagger or change that direction of the road so it would discourage people from doing exactly what we're talking about tonight. So it's just interesting because it's the same owner. We're still talking, it's Case Valley, and they heard what we were saying, and they had a person here specifically saying, yes, we're going to try to do something about that. I mean, I live in that area too, and if you haven't seen it, it's going to become people just running through there as fast as they can. And I don't know who to address this with. I don't know if it's you all, if it's the county, but it's going to be a major, major issue. I mean, there's just no question. I guess.
We actually did do what you're saying with, we curved this road and put a S curve in here so that people can't run through it, and we also.
That's a joke.
Oh, we drive a circle, we know how to do that,
I'm
straight
just
shot
trying
and
to
curve.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, I would have to agree that S does slow things down. And based upon the distance that you told this young lady over here between the bank and the retail of 180 feet, and you were really dealing with the traversing of about 400 from Kenilworth over to Dunvale. So it's about 400 feet stretch there. And acceleration and deceleration alone in that area on site is very hard to get up above a certain amount. Saying that, though, I agree, because I did make the comment earlier that it would be a nice crisscross road through here. I still believe it, but it doesn't seem like some of the people in here understand what I'm saying. I think it would be better to do that and keep it slow. But the way to mitigate it would probably be put speed bumps along the way every so often so that it doesn't happen. Speed bumps are a perfect thing to do through this area.
When you
Thank you.
run Kenilworth straight across into the shopping center, we all know people run lights, and they're going to accelerate. They're going to see the light turning yellow, a block down, and they're going to pick up speed and go through that intersection.
Right, but if
You
they
have-
end up hitting speed bumps, there'll be an NTP.
Well,
when
that's
it's-
not the point. That's not the point. And you have school children, if these are
quote, going to be walkable, that are going to be walking from Immaculate down to that shopping center to get whatever, and whose responsibility is the first child's death?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So I don't think the developer would want this property to be used as a cut-through as well, because the developer wants his tenants to make money, that he wants the people to stop and shop and eat on this property. If this property is designed so that it's a cut-through, you're going to have a lot of traffic coming in there, which will discourage people from wanting to eat there. So I'd like you to pass that along to the developers as well. And I have a second comment.
I was just say first that I will.
Okay, thank you. The second comment is, I have children that attend Immaculate Conception, so I am concerned about the dumpsters and the placement of dumpsters. The children play on that field, we go and see games there, and whatever the state had there, I know they had a dumpster there, you could smell whatever that nastiness was. And so I had raised that issue with the developer at the last meeting here, and I think it was kind of just brushed off. But even though the dumpsters are small, and even though we're getting promises that they'll be taken care of more frequently, I just envision seeing dumpsters being full, that the smell will come up. So I'm just wondering if they could look at a different place to put them. Oh, and I had one more question, sorry.
Sure.
Okay. How wide are the parking spots? Because for the people that will be driving, I mean, I'm looking forward to being able to walk as a West Towson resident, but for people that will be driving, the parking spaces in a lot of these areas now, because of course developers want to maximize the parking, you can't open your doors because the spaces aren't wide enough. So how wide are these spaces?
Good question. 9 feet wide.
9
The
feet.
county requires by code 8.5 feet.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to put it on the record that the trees on the streetscape should be native canopy trees and not these tiny ornamentals like crepe myrtles.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
I just thought of one thing. When you're coming in from York Road, that S-curve, if you're going up a 25 feet incline, your car is going to be looking up rather than, unless it's graded really subtly. And if you are like that, you're not going to even see people in that crosswalk because your car is going to be going up a hill.
Well,
It's not
I think part of the concern was the overall drop in grade from here to here, but it's going to be a gradual incline.
That's not 25 feet. It's 25 feet from the intersection here, from the intersection at Bosley, all the way out to the first floor of these stores. So, this road in here might be a 6% grade. So if this is 100 feet, you might be going from the grade at the street here, it might be 6 feet higher here.
Yes, ma'am.
I do agree with everyone who's talked about the traffic issue, especially I absolutely envision the intersection of Venable, people who are going to try to get over to South on York. I can see a bumper to bumper, the right lane of Kenilworth to turn right into that entrance, and I can see just people, God help the people who are parked there trying to get out when there's cars bumper to bumper to try and go south on York Road. God help the person who tries to go north on York Road there. But, so I agree with that. And that is, once again, it's going to hurt the retail people because no one's going to stop. They're going to use it as cut through. But as far as pedestrian traffic, the trees in the green space that are slightly south of the intersection of Kenilworth and Bosley, if there were little sidewalk cut-throughs there, that whoever is walking from Immaculate Conception, kids can cut through there and not have to use the intersection to get into the property. If there's a way to get in on your feet without competing with cars, and same thing for the other entrance. Don't make people.
What specific location are you referring to? Is this up here?
Right, yes.
Okay.
Like possibly in between those trees, like pathways or something, so that kids could get in and they're in the property and they're out of traffic's way. Same thing on the other side. If there's a way to get in that you're not competing with cars. And all these like residential areas that people are moving into, these apartments that are
south of here, if they want to cross over and just walk over there, it's horrible trying to keep the cars, but if you got, oh, this is the footways, you know.
What are the widths of the new sidewalks?
It would probably be difficult to do something in this area because there's, I mean, you would definitely have steps. There's a pretty good grade difference here.
Steps are more safe than
There's a slope
cars.
that comes down through here, and you know, this people could walk in at grade, you don't have to go down steps. But it would be, not that it can't be done, but it would be difficult. And,
Yes, ma'am.
oh, that was another question.
I just have a question. I mean, I live on the other side, so it sounds like there are
What's the other side?
the other side of, the other side of Bosley.
Okay.
So, I mean, presumably I could walk down the sidewalk, and it looks like there's a sidewalk going into the parking lot with a walkway or something.
Right here?
On that side. Correct.
Right.
Okay, but on the other side, you've got a lot of townhomes down there, you've got an apartment building, several, you've got the flats a little bit further south, you have the promenade. How are those people going to get in there if they walk? I mean, they're not going to walk in the middle of the driveway. I mean, is there a sidewalk there? I don't see.
Right here?
No.
There's a way in right here.
Okay, I didn't see. I thought.
It's a little hard to see on the plan.
Okay.
What about the other end, Bosley and York?
Bosley and York down here.
Access.
Yeah, you have to walk down York Road or Bosley Road to get to the entrance to the site.
Could there be stairs put in though? I mean, how much grade is going to be there? Does there have to be a wall that you can't get through?
I mean, there's a potential that stairs to be put in there.
That would be a big help. Where?
Well, I don't know. That's 25 foot high of stairs.
It's a big grade difference.
Well, it's not 25 feet, it's 20.
25 feet is only 13 feet.
Yes, it's not
Sidewalk to top of the wall.
Yeah.
You could do ramps on both sides too.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that would be a really good idea, because I've walked down in that neighborhood, there's a lot of townhouses, row houses, it's a very dense neighborhood, and they have a lot of young kids, and, you know, if you're gonna have fast food and stuff, that's your market, too. And they could walk right in at the corner instead of having to go up York Road into the property.
Thank you.
So.
I had a factual question. If we could go back to the fast food slide.
Sure.
I know there is a drive-through, and I know there's a sidewalk, and I know there's a bit of a wall, and I just can't put them all together in my head. So where is the drive-through for the fast food restaurant? It's parallel to York?
So, yeah, you enter the drive-through lane here.
Okay. Then
You come around the side here, it's actually a double drive-through lane.
And
there's
so
two-
if you've got someone walking on the sidewalk on York Road, what's between them and the fast food lane?
Landscaping,
Wall of planted?
in this area, it's one wall.
Uh-huh.
The second wall starts right about here,
Okay,
so.
okay.
Yeah, there's landscaping, a fence, retaining wall, drops down, and then landscaping on the low side of the wall.
So I just wanted to make sure that people on the sidewalk didn't feel like they were right up against the cars in the drive-through, and I didn't think so, but it was just hard to tell from the picture. And I just had a comment, which is, we sound like we're really antagonistic about this and saying we want more sidewalks, we want more trees, but the fact of the matter is, we will frequent this place. If it is attractive, we will walk when it's nice out, and we will drive when it's not nice out, and we will be good customers. And so it really is in the developer's interest to make it as appealing as possible to us, because we're the market, and we will go to it.
Thank you, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Listen to your comments. Yes, sir.
I think that's a great comment by her. And one of the things that I would suggest, that very difficult thing for people in Towson especially to understand, like the apartments in Lambourne, or the apartments with the mansard roofs right across from Goucher College. If you live there and you want to go up to Sources or something, it's a 125-foot difference, and people don't usually like to walk up that hill. But in this area, since a lot of people live right around here, typically a quarter mile at best is walkable tolerance for people. I would say, can you do a presentation where you're showing the existing topography lines so that people can actually see, because people are confused about the at-grade entrance off of Dunvale Road. people who are in the townhouses over there could actually probably navigate from Dunval rather than, and avoid York and Bosley in order to come through that area rather than try to go to the base at Bosley and York, which is 25 feet difference.
Be a traffic
Is
light
there a
there?
crosswalk?
Is there a
It's
traffic
not,
light?
it's not an issue of the crosswalk. The issue is, you know, how tough it is to walk up a 25-foot difference grade within 300 feet.
But there's
no
not a
traffic
crosswalk
light.
from Dunvale to get across the
Yeah,
shopping
so-
center. I'm not crossing York Road without a
Without a-
crosswalk and a.
Yeah, exactly, so.
Is there not going to be a crosswalk now?
No, he said no.
Okay. Well, actually, it's not their responsibility to do that. You can talk.
There's one here.
No, but to go from the other side of York Road to get to your shopping
You
center.
have to go.
To go across Dunvale here?
Yeah, there's gonna be no
Yeah,
light.
there's no traffic signal here. It's highly unlikely that the state highway would let us put a crosswalk.
It's under SHA's control.
In mid-block like that.
It's not under their control. That's a state road. So SHA, it's a process you have to go through. And the state highway traffic design division, as well as the county, would have to work together to make that happen. And you know how you can make that happen? By your calling them, not telling them, because they're not going to get it for you. They can't get it for you. That would be a possibly conflict of interest to get better access across the road. It's principally made to move cars.
Yes, ma'am.
I have two questions. The first is, will there be any facilities for bicycle parking? And the second question is, what is the width of the sidewalks along the main roads and interior to the property?
So there will be bicycle parking. Right now, we only have it labeled in this area right here, but there will probably be bicycle parking in front of each building at some location. But there definitely will be bicycle parking. And the sidewalks along the street, along York Road, they're almost the full width of the right-of-way. And, not the right, I'm sorry. They're almost the full width from the curb to the right-of-way line. So the curb to the property line of the site. And in this area here, I can't remember exactly, but I was thinking it's kind of something like 8 feet. Might be 7 or 8 feet along York Road, and then along the Bosley Avenue, it's a little bit wider. The curb to the right-of-way line here, well, I don't think we have a label there, David. I have a scale I can measure it, but it's a little bit wider on that side. Let me just, if you need a better answer than that, I can scale it off the plan and tell you.
And also interior.
Interior. So these sidewalks along the front of the store and on the side here, these were, I believe these were like 14 feet, somewhere in that range, 13, 14, and then there's a couple of bump outs here that maybe they're a little bit wider. This is a little bit wider on this side, and this is a little bit less on this side. But I think they were a minimum of 13 feet across the front, because you wanted to be able to get outdoor seating along those sidewalks and then still have people be able to walk through.
Well, if the bump outs are for outdoor seating, then.
I mean, there's little bumps in the building, so the facade of the building comes across here, and then it juts back in a little bit, maybe like 3 or 4 feet, and then it comes out this way, and then it comes back out 3 or 4 feet and goes around. So in the center here, the sidewalk's a little wider, and then on the ends here is a little bit less.
Okay, so, and what about, that doesn't answer how wide there is for people to be walking, and what about walking from the retail building to the bank or the fast food place, across the parking lot? How wide are those walking?
Walking from the retail building to where?
To the bank or fast food place?
Those would be 5 or 6 feet wide. These, like crossing here?
Right.
Probably 5 feet wide. Walkways going through here. 5 feet is usually like a 2-person sidewalk, 2-person width.
Yes, ma'am.
There were a point that was made earlier about York Road and wanting full shade street trees. I'd just like to reinforce that if you're walking up from the townhouse neighborhoods and you're walking up York Road all the way to the entrance, unless we get some steps that would be right at the intersection, the sidewalk may be, as you described it, I think you said almost 8 feet or something like that, but you need regular street trees that give some kind of buffer for the street, because as a pedestrian walking along York Road, right at the edge of York Road is not pleasant at all.
We have a little bit of an issue on York Road. On Bosley, we can do the full light, major deciduous trees. On York Road, there are overhead power lines here. So we are constrained. You can't put, they won't let us put large trees under the overhead power lines.
But even if they're not as tall, I understand about the power lines, but if you have them spaced at a regular basis, even if they're shorter trees, it gives some sense of protection. You've got a few small trees there, but they're not spread out, so it's only intermittent, and you get any buffer from your road.
Why can't power lines be put underground?
Thank you for your comments on the landscape. Might be it.
No, actually, just one comment echoing what she said. You know, this community we have fought you guys pretty hard against the gas station. And part of that is because Caves Valley has been essentially seeking the lowest common denominator. This is just a whole big bowl of, it's not that big of a deal. Caves Valley has an opportunity here to be a special developer, to be a creative developer, as opposed to having community after community battle them. I mean, Cross Street is a perfect example, and we want something better. We're not against development at all. We've said this time and time again. We're a community, we're neighbors, we're consumers. You need us. We need you guys as well, but we need something better than what you guys are doing. I mean, this is it's just so average. And, you know, the horses may have left the barn on this, but this is an opportunity for Caves Valley to learn something from this, if they are capable of learning anything at all. That's it for me.
Good sir, can you do me a favor and tell me what in the county you would patch and move and put in this spot with your knowledge of real estate?
What I would patch?
So what would you put here with your knowledge of real estate?
I'm fine with a mixture of commerce.
I want you to pick a spot in the county and tell me what should go here.
Pick a spot in the county.
Tell me something.
Tear down the library in Towson and move it right to that spot there. And use that spot where the library is as a more appropriate retail or office or.
So you want to you want to have it be a library?
That'd be great.
Okay.
Maybe mixed use. There were other proposals for
I
mixed use.
thought we were talking commercial use.
It doesn't look urban. It just looks like the same old front we have all in Diamond Brook Road.
So really the motive is to have a library?
Yeah, actually, so in answer to your question, if you'll let me answer your question. So I'm fine, and I think many of us here are fine with, again, some sort of inspired commerce. So think about Clipper Park that Streever Brothers put down there. You've got Woodbury Kitchen, you've got a mixed use of residential, you've got artisans down there, and they made use of, and it's, again, the horses have left the barn on this one, but they made use of existing architecture. Our house, the old A.D. Anderson building, is a perfect example of a crappy concrete 1950s car dealership that is now one of the hippest places in Remington. I'm telling you, you guys have had an opportunity, and I'd like to think that you still have an opportunity, but you know, this is just so underwhelming to most of us.
Well, actually, I met with Donald Manikin, who developed that at our house, and you're right, that's a very interesting spot. At the same time, I'm still inviting you to tell me what would go here, because you seem to be open
What we're going to do,
constructive.
we're going to have that kind of conversation that you can have after the meeting. Is there any additional comments that you have or questions regards to the project before?
I actually do have
Something that's different from something that's a question that's different from what's next.
the proposed fast food in the bank. I've seen so many things, and so I got a little confused. I actually thought it was going to have, okay, but it's only going to be one or the other.
It's going to be.
Yes.
Yes, those are the two options shown on the plan.
Okay, and then I was told, well, there was a fast food company, if there was one that was going to come in, that would not be open 24 hours. Is that still true?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Can I just
just a fun one, because I'm like, I have an architect friend, and I'm all about just pedestrian bridges.